So as many of you know from watching this channel, the Nike Pegasus 37 was one of the best daily trainers I've ever used. And this is specifically the 2020 model. I have not been able to find a daily trainer equivalent, with only one shoe that got close, which was the Hoka One One Mach 4. But now I'm presented with the brand new Nike Vomero 16. Is this the shoe that I've been looking for? Let's talk about it. What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Filip Latocha, and today, as you can already guess, we're going to be talking about the Nike Vomero 16, which was a popularly requested shoe for this channel. Whether it was the Vomero 16 or just any of the Vomero models, everybody said, hey Phil, get this shoe. Hey Phil, where does the shoe fit in with this specific daily trainer lineup you've got? Where does it fit with the Nike Echelon, the daily trainer, family? It's here. I've given it a run. Let's talk about it, of course, but before we get into it, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel. If you're already subscribed to the channel and watching the content, thanks so much. Love you guys a lot. Make sure you follow me on Strava, Instagram, and all other sorts of social medias. Links are in the descriptions below. Without further ado, the specs for the Vomero 16 are right here. But because this will be the first time I talk about this shoe, on this channel, I'm going to just go over them just real briefly, just so we have them kind of for the record. Of course, this is a shoe that's being advertised as a Pegasus 37-38 combo/replacement shoe. I don't know if that terminology is exactly correct. Maybe it's just supposed to be more of an alternative, I suppose. But anyways, yeah, let's just talk about this thing. So, general specs, of course. In size 8.5, this shoe is reading for me at about 10.2 ounces. And that's, a little bit more on the average to heavier side. It fits in more kind of with like the React and like the Pegasus 38 sort of family in terms of weight. Nothing too concerning there as of right now. Other general specs is that the stack height in the heel is about 29.5 millimeters. In the forefoot, it's about 18.5, which does give this about 10 to 11 millimeters in the heel drop, if I'm doing my math correctly. I think it's about 10, actually. So, that being said, this is kind of a higher stack height, kind of resembles a lot of the Pegasus 37 Tempo Next Percent models here. And just for the record here, I'm going to try to keep those shoes out of this comparison for now. I will have comparison videos for the Vomero to those models, and I'll do my best to address those when those videos come out. But for now, I want to talk about the Vomero specifically just as it is, just to clear that up. What else? Okay, so that's the general stuff. Let's talk about the upper. So again, it's got this material that's more of a very soft mesh, looks very breathable, kind of resembles a lot of the similar patterns that existed on the previous Pegasus models. Also kind of like the Pegasus Turbo 2 sort of kind of stand out. In terms of the textile that's going on through the shoelaces, it looks like something that's a little bit engineered, a little bit coated with some kind of maybe plastic or some kind of rubber. Just to kind of give it, I guess, additional reinforcement here in the shoelace area. I say it's pretty cool. It hasn't been giving me any issues thus far. I see that the tongue, this is kind of what was really fun about the shoe. It feels like a pillow. There's just a lot of this cushion material here, which gives it, I guess, an okay feel. It's kind of a different approach to a lot of what Nike was presenting recently with this kind of curved over tongue that was more of just one straight textile piece that didn't provide all that much cushion. So again, very interesting that this is the way that the Vomero wants to roll with it. But I guess conceptually speaking to this shoe, I understand why that would be the case. Now, if we're talking about the Achilles Pillow, there isn't really one in here. But again, the same material that's kind of coating the tongue is also sitting on the outside heel of the shoe. Basically around the heel collar, just a little bit less soft because it's got a little bit more reinforcement, of course. And that to me is pretty cool. Again, based on what the shoe is supposed to do, which is that it's supposed to be the comfortable long distance runner, this shoe is built so far to have as much comfort as possible in this shoe collar area. Now let's talk about some of the things in the back here. I guess the one major piece that we've seen on a lot of Nike shoes recently is this plastic guard on the heel. And now it's part plastic, part rubber. It's supposed to have that flexibility, but it's also supposed to create this, this kind of reinforcement in this heel area. So as long as your heel is centered while you're running, whether you're forefoot striking and you just need that ankle to heel stability, it's there. It's built right in there, and it looks like it's been sitting pretty well from this based on the way I've been able to run with it and just have the proper stability in here. So let's talk about the midfoot and the outsole here, or the midsole outsole. Rubber-wise, I can definitely feel the ZoomX. It's basically all over the shoe, but there's also, I guess, some React on it. I don't know the exact areas where it is. My guess, if I had to speculate, is that it took the Pegasus Turbo 2 and flipped the rubbers around. As in, this dark gray feels sort of like React foam, and this light gray is the ZoomX. So they want the springiness and the speed of the ZoomX to be the main frontliner for this shoe, but then they want the React to be basically working in tandem with all the other pieces of the shoe to give you a more relaxed, kind of stable ride. That's my guess, unless otherwise specified, but it's possible that this might just be ZoomX all the way across if that's not the case. But my guess is that there is, of course, some React on this as of right now. If that changes, I'll let you guys know in a second kind of upcoming video based on the first response here. What else we got? So, obviously similar to the Pegasus 37 and 38, there is an air zoom pocket in this shoe. And the good news is that it doesn't feel like it's overinflated to the point where it's causing any sort of like trauma on the foot that I would have experienced on the Pegasus 38 in this particular case. So that's good. I'm fine with it being slightly deflated. I would rather have more ZoomX response than air zoom pocket response anyways. That's just a personal take because the ZoomX foam is just insanely fun to run with, and I like it a lot. And then the last thing I guess we can discuss, of course, is the outsole itself. As you can see, it is EVA rubber, and I can't tell whether it's the squishy or like the standard rubber as of right now. But of course, it just says it's the OG/RS002 high abrasion rubber as it marked out here. And again, without trying to make too many comparisons to previous models, this does look like the Pegasus kind of pattern, only because there's a major difference here on this outer tread that is more like kind of scalloped. And I think that's kind of cool. It gives a bit of a design difference. I don't know what its utility is going to be quite yet, but I guess we'll see moving forward. So now that we got all the specs out of the way, let's talk about my thoughts on this shoe. So, I did read a couple of reviews on this shoe before I actually took it on my first test run, so I kind of have an expectation I set for it. So that being said, holy cow, where's this shoe been my entire life? I know this is a brand new shoe, and I know that the Vomero family has a similar feel across their shoe brands, minus this one according to reviews, that this one gives people a bit of a different response. But here's my two biggest takeaways from this. One, Nike knew, I think, that the Pegasus 37 was a success. The Pegasus 38 kind of dropped the ball because of some laziness to manufacturing and overbuilding some of the air zoom pocket technology. That's just a hunch. This is my opinion on that. Not saying that Nike knows that. Maybe they had a lot of success with the Pegasus 38. I don't really know. I'm just telling you from personal experience. I hated that shoe. The second thing here that I think Nike really capitalized on and is a big success is they took the ZoomX Invincible and watered it down. And now why is it important that they watered that shoe down? Is because the ZoomX Invincible, I think, conceptually is built very similar to the shoe, where the upper is extremely comfortable. The foam is basically ZoomX all the way across. It's got a huge heel guard to, keep a stability in the foot. And those are like some of the main features of the ZoomX Invincible. That was both its success and its downfall. What do I mean by that? Is that it was over-engineered, right? There was just too much going on with it. It was big, it was bulky, but it could be really fast if you wanted it to be fast. So that being said, what they did is they trimmed a lot of the fat off the ZoomX Invincible. They slimmed it down a little bit. They kept the comfort, and they added an air zoom pocket, and voila, we have the Vomero 16. And I'm a huge fan of the fact that they took less, or they did more with less in that case. So that's what I'm seeing right now after my first run with the shoe, is the case that as I'm running with it and I'm riding with it, I'm able to sustain like mid to fast paces in, you know, in relative sense in this particular shoe, and have just extreme comfort with it across the board. So when I did my run yesterday on the treadmill to test this thing out, I was running maybe anywhere from like, you know, 9-minute mile to, I think I got up to about 7:30 just to kind of relax. Did it for about a 10K, and I was experiencing some foot pain in like the tempo next percent when I was running with it, as you probably heard in the previous video. And in this particular instance, that pain is like minimal, and it almost subsides because of how much comfort there was, of course, in the left foot of this shoe. So the comfort is there. That is without a doubt. Now, the only concern that I guess people had with their reviews of the shoe is that it looks ugly. And I think for people who've watched my videos on the channel, they know that I'm a fan of like really kind of not aesthetically crazy looking shoes, but I like crazy color schemes, and this was probably one of the crazier color schemes for this shoe that was out there. And yeah, it does look like a space boot or like a space shoe for some people. I personally think it looks really cool. Like, again, if the shoe fits, wear it. If the shoe has a purpose to it, just wear it accordingly. And if the purpose of the shoe is to be a comfortable distance runner, and to be a comfortable fast distance runner in this case overall, then deal with it. If the shoe comes off to you as ugly, like, so what? Like, make sure it can do its job. I think that's the important piece here. And yeah, so that's realistically my take with the Vomero 16 is like, it just looks like a Pegasus 37 and 38 that they added a few necessary parts to, but also took the Zoom X Invincible and watered it down a lot to reduce the over-engineering that the shoe had presented previously. So that's my take on the Vomero 16, and like, again, I'm really liking this shoe, and it could be the Pegasus 37 replacement I've been looking for. So again, in terms of the exact comparison and contrasts that like make or break either shoe, we'll get to that point I think in the future when I start comparing it to the Pegasus 37 and 38. But for now, this standalone shoe I think is like really good in terms of being a daily trainer that I think you guys can utilize. And of course, based on the comments, a lot of people were like, Phil, try this shoe out. And like, you know, I'm late to the party. I apologize if I didn't get it sooner. You guys were right. There's something special about this shoe that, you know, we're going to find out as we continue going along. And like, once I start getting my distance runs in order, back outside especially, we're going to see how this thing handles. But as of my first run, man, this was fun. This is a really stable, consistent, pretty mid to fast shoe overall. So if you guys have any other questions or comments about the shoe, you know, just leave them in the comments below. If you have a cool experience with the shoe or you disagree or agree with my assessment of it, also let me know below. But yeah, next time we'll be basically comparing this to like everything in my daily lineup, which is like the Tempo Next Percent Pegasus 37, probably the Zoom Fly 4 as well, because there's some controversy that could be addressed with that in those shoes. So lots of comparisons still to come, but we'll end the video right here. So thanks again for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.